Welcome to the Take the North podcast. I'm David Haugh from 670 The Scores, Mully and Haugh Show. Dan Wiederer from the Chicago Tribune covering the Bears at Haugh, August 10th, 2024, Christmas morning in Chicago. Get to unwrap and unveil the Bears starting quarterback, the franchise quarterback they've never had. Caleb Williams will play preseason opener against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. Exciting times for Bears fans.
There's no question about it. Away we go. You know, we get the first glimpse at the #1 pick in the draft. We get a first glimpse at a new offense that is trying to get its feet under it as the month of August rolls along. And we'll get an opportunity to see the Bills starters play as well. And so Josh Allen will be across the field from Caleb Williams. It'll be a fun opportunity to dial in on where this team's at in preseason game number 2 of 4, because the Bears got that extra preseason game this year.
There will be moments Caleb Williams makes you say, wow. There will be moments Caleb Williams makes you say, whoa. What will you be looking for specifically out of the rookie in his first action that will be against somebody other than his own teammates?
So 2 things. You said the first one right there. There better be a wow moment. There better be something that the night of the game is on SportsCenter. There better be something that on Monday morning when you go back to the Mully and Haugh Show, the first thing you want to talk about is the wow moment, the flash of elite talent, the indicator that Caleb Williams, #1 overall pick, is Caleb Williams, Bears savior. There better be something that tells you that that's in there. And then there's going to be a moment or two where there's going to be struggle and there's going to be a mistake or there's going to be something that goes wrong. You remember Justin Fields' debut against the Bills in the preseason. He didn't identify a blitz properly and got his head taken off. And so there's going to be that moment where you go, whoa, that was no good. What that's going to do is it's going to balance the internal optimism that the Bears have about where Caleb Williams is going in his long-term future, with their understanding that this is a process and it is a long, arduous process to get a rookie quarterback of any talent level off the ground and launched properly. And so there's a lot here. The Bears coaches, David, are going to be looking at so many things that the general fan is not going to be watching on Saturday, and it's command of the huddle. Can you get in there? Can you call the play properly? Can you call it in a timely manner so that you can get to the line of scrimmage on time? If there's somebody misaligned, can you get them realigned? Can you take a look across at the defense, identify what you're seeing, and make any necessary pre-snap adjustments? Can your cadence work in a way where you are using it to your advantage without creating sloppiness before the snap or false start penalties, which have been an issue here throughout the offseason program and again through training camp? And so there's a lot of operational things that inside the building here they're going to be zeroing in on just to see if Caleb is making progress in that regard. And then the plays are going to start, and you better see a playmaker once the plays start.
That's a good assessment, because those are the things that aren't going to be measured necessarily on any stat sheet, and you're not going to see on NFL Network a highlight of a good cadence or a clean huddle break. But I do think that these kind of little things lead to bigger success, and that's the kind of thing guys like Shane Waldron, Kerry Joseph, and even Matt Eberflus will be evaluating. I don't want to say heavier than the results, but the process matters as much as the outcome in the preseason. And this is the first shot at doing the process in real time against live competition.
Yeah, and Kerry Joseph said it himself on, I guess it was Wednesday afternoon, where he just said, you just can't skip steps. You know, you just can't take for granted that because this kid has all this otherworldly talent that he doesn't have to go through the same growing pains or the same stages of development that everyone else does. And so they're in the early stages of Caleb Williams' development. That will be very apparent when he plays his first few games here in the preseason, and it'll be more apparent to those with the trained eye in Haugh looking to make sure all those things that you just mentioned are going cleanly and going smoothly and going in a way that makes you feel like everything's fluid.
It'll be great if he gets a quarter to find out who he targets first, how he looks downfield, how he improvises, all those things, how often they run the ball. The quick passing game, I think, will be in play. I also am very curious, Dan, how the backfield will shape up for the Bears. I think DeAndre Swift is your starter. After that, you look at Roschon Johnson, who I think has missed a couple practices.
Yeah, he won't play Saturday.
He won't play. Khalil Herbert may be in mix, but I'm most intrigued by the position switch this week, looking at Velus Jones as a running back. And as a running back who has multiple skill set coming out of the backfield, I think you look at, well, he isn't good on pass protection, so there's going to be very a predictability maybe to him being in the game. But I also wonder where this is headed. And is this his last-ditch chance to make the roster, or is this something that just he's going to make the roster, just kind of get most out of his talent?
If you read between the lines of what Matt Eberflus has said over the last week, and you get a feel for how they're operating here at Haugh, you understand that they feel like Velus Jones is on the quote-unquote fringe of the 53-man roster for the regular season. And Matt has made it very clear that for those guys that are on the fringe of the roster, you better be able to do more than one thing. The Bears know that Velus Jones can be a weapon for them as a kickoff returner. That's not enough on a roster that is more competitive and has more quality depth than ever before in the in the Poles Eberflus era to just rest your laurels on and make the team by that. So Velus Jones has to prove he can do more. He hasn't found his home at wide receiver over his 2+ years here. And so now this feels like a little bit of a creative twist and a little bit of a desperation effort to get something out of Velus Jones as an offensive playmaker. Put the ball in his hands. That's when he's best. But now you don't have to throw it to him. You can pitch it to him. You can hand it to him. You can get him some quick game stuff and use him as a weapon there. Velus Jones has used this block of practices this week leading up to the Bills game. He will have the Bills game on Saturday in Buffalo to show that he is capable of doing that. And then they're going to get back to Haugh and they're going to reassess. Does it make sense to keep him there? Do we put him back at wide receiver? What all can Velus Jones show us that gives us a feel that he can make the team for us? We'll see what happens Saturday in Buffalo.
We've seen him get to the edge on jet sweeps. We've seen him use that speed to get around the corner. I don't want to overreact or think that, oh boy, this is going to be a great situation or opportunity. But if he takes advantage, you could imagine ways. If Shane Waldron is as good as a play caller in a guy that it's all about matchups. And if you can somehow get a matchup with Velus Jones on a linebacker or a strong safety, it's over. And now all he has to do is catch the ball, which I know can be the greatest challenge. But that's one of the reasons I think that it intrigues Waldron is this possibility of getting a mismatch with the guy lined up in the backfield. And then we'll see what we got.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think back to Tariq Cohen, his rookie season in 2017, and then really more so in 2018 when he united with Matt Nagy, and they used Tariq Cohen as a chess piece. They understood how explosive he could be. And if you go back and look at all the receptions Tariq Cohen had that first season in the Matt Nagy offense, there was so much of it that was just creating a matchup for him and getting him matched up against the linebacker. If you can find a guy that can be that kind of weapon for you, then you tap into that as much as you can, and we'll see what direction they're able to go with it. The other guy that returned to practice on Thursday, David, undrafted rookie out of Howard, Ian Wheeler. He's got the type of big play sizzle that can flash in a preseason game like Saturdays in Buffalo. Keep an eye on him if he gets some late action because that's a guy who I think inside the building they're very optimistic about.
Ian Wheeler, I will keep an eye on him. Matt Eberflus was asked about the situation with Velus Jones at running back, trying him there, and this is what he had to say.
With Velus, do you see him playing exclusively in the backfield going forward, or is it just this stretch here?
It's for the block, and then we'll reevaluate where it is. So again, like I said, he's got a lot of talent. He's open to moving around. Again, like we talked about, I think it was maybe last time we visited about, if you're the fringe roster or guy that's competing for that, 5th, 6th spot on the receiver or halfback, wherever it might be, the more you can do. If you're a 4-core guy in special teams and the more you can, utilize your talents across the wider base of the team, I believe that's a good thing for you. So that's what he's doing.
When you said this block, how long is the block? Just this week?
Just through the Bills.
Okay. Yeah. And what does he need to show you to potentially stay there?
Just the execution, and then show us your skill set. We're putting you back there because you're fast and you're a bigger, stouter receiver that does a good job in the return game, and you can utilize him in a bunch of different spots back there. And it'll be good to line him up in different spots. So just the operation of that.
I like his answer. I think it's practical, and I think it can't hurt because this is a guy that was in the verge of, maybe getting cut. And I think Colin Johnson's emergence in the first game gives you reason to wonder how many. Heck, DJ Moore asked the question: how many receivers will they keep? Maybe Velus Jones is a hybrid.
And that's the value of having a competitive roster and one with a lot of quality depth is it allows you to make decisions on your, and have that playing in their strengths. It's not always to the benefit of the guys like Velus Jones who are going to have to now fight for a roster spot that was assured to them previously, but we'll see which direction they go.
So on the offensive line, Braxton Jones at left tackle, Tevin Jenkins left guard, the center likely Coleman Shelton because of Ryan Bates' situation. Nate Davis not going to play, so you wonder how Bates fits at right guard. If not Bates at right guard, who will be the right guard?
Matt Pryor probably will get a look, or maybe Jatari Carter.
Jatari Carter is a name that has been there for a while. we'll see if Darnell Wright plays at right tackle. But Dan, more intriguing is what goes on with the Bears defensive line. Don't talk a lot about the Bears defensive line this preseason, because I guess that's the good news. You feel pretty settled there. But what about Montez Sweat, Andrew Billings? Are they going to play? If not, who steps up?
I doubt Montez Sweat will play. He's been out of practice this week, and you would doubt that you'd force him into game action after missing as much practice time as he has. Andrew Billings returned to the practice field on Thursday. He looks like he would be good, if needed, to go in and play a few reps. But we've talked about this defensive line really since the spring as needing to prove itself, right? And to lessen the outside concerns that they don't have enough teeth rushing the passer. Well, that puts the spotlight Saturday on a guy like Gervon Dexter, year 2, playing with more confidence. He's leaner, he's stronger, he's faster. He's been batting passes down on a regular basis here at training camp. Let's see it show up in the games, right? Let's see what happens here. There was a lot of conversation here. Travis Smith, the defensive line coach, on Thursday mentioned that in today's NFL passing game, you don't get as many opportunities to get after the quarterback and put him on the ground. And so one of the things that you can do to be disruptive is to get hands on balls. And so they're drilling that, they're teaching it, they're training it repeatedly. And Dexter's made a living out of that. And so if you're looking for Gervon Dexter's production in 2024, look to the PBD column more than the sack column, because that might be the one that is more telling on how much he disrupts things. They're still going to want him to be a pocket denter. They're still going to want him to have that force. But Saturday is an opportunity for him to show the rest of the world what people inside Hall have been talking about for 5 months, that he looks better. He looks like he can be an impact starter. He better be, because the Bears are really leaning into that at the 3 technique position.
I want to lean into Austin Booker, see what he has. Maybe he can chase down Josh Allen. That's a great challenge. Wouldn't it be great? Josh Allen tries to get the edge. Austin Booker chases him down on 3rd down, and Chicago goes crazy because they're like, oh, yeah, there's Mark Anderson, 2006. That is something the Bears really could use opposite Montez Sweat. We'll see what he has. I liked what he had to offer in the first game. Didn't do a lot, but was at least physical. So defensive line, Bears watching for the Bears, obviously.
There's no question. Yeah. And with Booker, like, the one thing that you keep hearing internally is that not only does he have sort of natural body movement in the way he manipulates his rush, but he never is predetermined with what move he's going to do off the snap. And they feel really good about his natural instinct to react to what he's seeing and to move off that. Let's see that play out on Saturday as well.
Bullet point answers on the following. The new kickoff rule was kind of underwhelming to me. What changes do you think we'll see? Adjustments, tweaks? What do you expect when they kick off and return kicks on Saturday in Buffalo?
8 kickoffs in the Hall of Fame game. 7 of them were returned. That's the whole goal, is to get the return back in the game more frequently. None of them went past the 31-yard line. And so you haven't had the explosive returns that some believe will become more normal under the dynamic kickoff. I think you're dealing with a very small sample size, and there's going to be games league-wide this weekend with all 32 teams now in action that will give us a better feel for what it looks like. Again, because you're now dealing with a situation where the coverage team lines up at the opposition's 40-yard line and they are not allowed to move until the ball is caught or hits the ground, you don't have to put hang time on kicks anymore. Cairo Santos talked about that earlier this week in saying, look, like, this is an opportunity for special teams coordinators and kickers to get creative with how you deliver the ball to the returners and what you want to do with your coverage team to try to use that to your advantage. I think returners feel more optimistic that this is more like a running play now. When the ball's in your hand, you don't have to read as many levels. You're going straight ahead. You're trying to find the one crease that fits you best, and you're trying to hit it. And then if you hit it, you may have a one-on-one race with the kicker, which is a pretty fun thing for a return person to envision and dream of happening. I think, David, with this, again, full slate of games across the league this week, we're going to get a much wider lens on the things that are possible and the things that are going to be tried and the wrinkles that might be able to be exploited. I think this is a really fun August storyline, because it will kind of give people an idea of which way to lean when the regular season arrives.
I think I can get on board with the new kickoff rule. I was just disappointed with the first one because
there wasn't much to it.
I think I expected a lot more than was delivered.
So I need to tell you this, because you may be sitting up near me periodically throughout the year in the press box at Soldier Field. Every kickoff at the Hall of Fame game, I leaned over to Colleen Kane and Brad Biggs and said, Bears are offsides. That's just going to be my running joke for the whole week, because it looks so weird to the naked eye to have the coverage team 30 yards ahead of the kicker the way they are.
You tripsters do have your patented lines in the
things that we beat into the ground, right? Like,
I just remember from my days as a tripster.
Block party?
Who said anything about Biggs? So the other thing I want to make sure.
Fake punt here, element of surprise.
Yeah, fake punt. Larry Borum, we didn't mention. Is he still in the mix as a swing tackle?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's been getting a lot of run at training camp, and again, if Darnell Wright isn't able to go, I would think he would be your first man up there.
And the last thing is that this is going to be Tyson Bagent time. And I wonder if we heard from Shannon Furman, we're going to get ready for Tyson Bagent's episode on Hard Knocks whenever it's comes. Maybe it's next Tuesday night, maybe not, but this might be a good opportunity. How much do you expect from Tyson Bagent in terms of to see him on Saturday? And how much has Brett Rippon closed the gap if he has?
The first question is I don't know, because Matt was so vague with how much Caleb is going to play. It's hard to know how that is going to ripple down to the other three quarterbacks and whether that will ultimately cost Austin Reed some reps late in the game or whatnot. I'm coming off a Thursday afternoon conversation with Tyson Bagent that left me absolutely giddy because he's just so fun to visit with and talk to, and he's so introspective and just a fun dude to have in this building. The Bears have felt very good about his continued growth. They believe he's their backup quarterback. Brett Rippon played obviously very well in Canton. He's stating a case that he deserves to be on an NFL team, whether it's on the Bears 53-man roster as a number 3 on their practice squad or somewhere else. He's going to continue to put his best foot forward and try to earn a job somewhere. But I think that they are firmly set with having Tyson Bagent as their number 2. Ryan Poles feels like he found a diamond in the rough here, and they want to kind of see this through, even as they're continuing to develop Caleb Williams, which is a much more high-stakes project that they're involved in. They like the things that Tyson Bagent brings to the table. And as you and I have talked about, I think, 2009 was the last time a Bears quarterback started every single game of a season. And so history tells us here in this town that Tyson Bagent will probably see some regular season action for some reason or another this year.
I hope the Bagency is pleased with what they see from Tyson Bagent against the Bills. I hope that Brett Rippon has a serviceable outing if he is asked to connect with with the backup receivers again. I hope he has a great night. I hope that Austin Reed's parents have a safe trip in and out of Buffalo. But let's face it, this is all about Caleb Williams, the cameo role that he will make in Orchard Park in Buffalo against the Bills. Exciting time to be a Bears fan. It all starts Saturday at noon.
No question about it. It should be fun. Away we go, and we're getting ever so closer to more meaningful football with what will be semi-meaningful football in Buffalo on Saturday.
Away we go, and we will evaluate it all next week when we drop another episode. But thank you for listening to this one on the Take the North podcast on your free Odyssey app. You can watch us on the 670 Scores YouTube page. For Adam Sadinsky, our producer, Dan Wiederer, Chicago Tribune's Bears writer at Haugh. I'm David Haugh for the Mully and Haugh Show. Thank you for watching and listening.
Great talk. See you out there.